Cooking the Books. I'm here with Jennifer Egan, which is amazing. And this is the new book, A Visit from the Goon Squad. And we couldn't think of anything to cook.
Not a lot of cooking in the book.
No cooking. A little eating.
Yes, someone actually orders but doesn't eat linguine with clams because they're on Coke.
Yeah.
We could have made linguine with clams, a great dish.
Missed opportunity. And then, done a lot of Coke and not eaten it.
Yeah,
That would be a
but I
fun
have a sweet
episode.
tooth. I think it's good we're making something sweet.
Visit from the Macaroons Squad. It's hard to find an entry point to talking about your book because your book is stories about a group of characters at different points in their lives. And I've read interviews with you where you talk about how it surprised you that this turned out to be a novel.
I still don't really call it that, but yes.
Oh yeah, it doesn't say a novel anywhere on it. Ha ha.
I guess I have maybe used the word now a couple of times. But no, I didn't. I mean, it wasn't, I did not conceive of this structure and think, aha, now I'll complete the picture. I didn't really write this in a way that was any different than the way I usually write, which is by hand initially, completely without direction or a sense of what I'm trying to do. Just, I guess, what you would call automatic writing to see what comes up. In the case of this one, I really just started with the beginning, where this woman steals a wallet. I was kind of excited by that because it just seemed sort of instantly dramatic, and also I've been robbed a lot. And then in the course of writing that, I found her, because I do experience it. I know this is illusory, but I experience it as someone else saying and doing these things and not me, which is kind of the fun of it. There was a point where she mentioned that her former boss, who was a record producer, sprinkles gold flakes in his coffee and sprays pesticide in his armpits. But then I found myself kind of thinking about him and thinking, well, why does he do those things? And it was this period where I was having these kind of weird shame memories, and there was this particular incident that was really haunting me when I was in my early 20s. And I was in this very formal setting of a tea party. I had been saying goodbye to the host, whom I had never met, and he was very formally saying goodbye, and something about the way he kind of tilted his head caused me to lean forward and kiss him. He was clearly startled. I mean, it was not that big a deal. It's not, let me tell you, he's not thinking about this anymore, but to me, I was just racked with horror over it. And I was having one of these periods of thinking about these things all the time, and somehow ruminating on the question of why this record producer had these odd habits and experiencing these shame memories. There was kind of a convergence, and it turned out that he was having a lot of shame memories. So I just got kind of excited about doing that and seeing how far I could take it. I followed my own curiosity until it made a book.
It's so satisfying to read this book, and I think it's because it fulfills this fantasy that one often has while reading books of sort of wondering, like, oh, I wonder what's happening to those characters 40 years in the future.
I totally feel that too. I mean, I feel it so much in life. Like, I'll sometimes think, wow, there was that guy sitting on the stairs when I walked down that street, 20 years ago. What's he doing now?
Yeah.
And it's sort of galling to think that I won't ever know. I like to have my curiosity satisfied, as everyone does. So that was exactly the pleasure that I hoped would pull people through. Because there are a lot of things that the book doesn't do. If you're reading it as a book and it gains dramatic power, it can only be because having that curiosity satisfied is exciting. So I was sort of banking on that, but I didn't know if it would work. So I'm glad to hear that
Totally
it did
worked.
for you.
Totally worked. So I'm going to assign you a task.
Okay.
Can you separate eggs?
I can.
All right. I would like you to separate these eggs. We're only going to be using the whites, and you don't have to be super finicky about not getting any yolk in the white or whatever. And meanwhile, I'm going to combine the dry ingredients, which are just 1 1/3 cups of coconut. I'm using hippie unsweetened coconut, and we're going to compensate for that by just adding even more refined white sugar. So I don't even know why I bothered.
We just want the weights?
Yeah, and actually, if you could, you don't have to beat them to stiff, shiny peaks or anything, but just give them a little whir so they're frothy. I think it will help the macaroons be not as leaden. It's kind of ridiculously easy, though. You just sort of put coconut flakes and maybe like
Sugar and what's the brown stuff? Vanilla?
just vanilla.
Okay.
And a commenter on the recipe suggested also adding almond extract. I'm gonna, accept the wisdom of the anonymous online cooking website commenter and also add a little almond extract for added richness. That looks good. I think that's good. Yeah, I don't think we have to get much more Baroque than that. Let's do it up. And then after I stir this mixture together, we're gonna do a fun, see, this is the part where, like, if you had brought your kids, it would have come in handy because we could have had them, like, endlessly roll this stuff into little balls.
They would have done that.
Yeah.
They might have taken some tastes.
Salmonella, I guess, is not, like, really on people's minds.
Because I keep threatening and they keep tasting, but it never happens. So I think they've decided that's just something
just have to
moms have
poison
invented
them.
to keep you from eating the batter.
Sometimes in books where the point of view is constantly shifting around, you're sort of like, oh,
You're
but
waiting for your favorite.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of the big risks because I feel that way even in a book that just moves between two worlds. Often I have one that I prefer to be in, and I find myself kind of wishing away the stuff. So I have definitely, readers would say, well, yeah, I have to admit, I really like this one better than the other one. I thought, oh my God, in this one, you never visit the same world twice. What are they going to say?
So just to recap real quick, we combined the coconut, the sugar, the vanilla, a little almond extract, and a little sprinkle of salt. Did we do that? I don't think we even did. Probably be fine. And then Jenny beat up some 2 egg whites, and we combined it all, and then we rolled it into little balls, and then we put it on this cookie sheet, and now we're gonna stick it in the oven at 325 for 20 minutes.
As a salt lover, what do you say to a little sprinkle?
Yeah, why not? I mean,
I just think you can't go wrong with salt. I mean, it makes everything taste better.
I love salt in baked goods also. It's like very important.
Sweet and salt, very good. Yeah, just a little nip of salt.
Yeah. Okay, let's stick them in the oven.
Turn on a dime. In the sultry
So we're gonna try these macaroons. We dipped them in chocolate, not as part of the narrative. It's like we dipped out of the narrative and
To dip.
Yeah, and to dip. It's good. It's like a candy.
I love sweets.
Fascinating. I don't know. I also do kind of want to like preserve you as like a semi-magical person who just mysteriously creates books and then, I almost didn't want to know that detail about you had the shame memories and then you gave them to the character.
Well, that's about as autobiographical as it gets with me.
So you didn't have a dissolute punk rock youth?
No.
Really?
Not really.
Not at all?
I was never a punk rocker. No, I was in San Francisco then, and I did go to those clubs, but I was just an observer, I mean, I really do kind of make it all up, honestly. That's why I feel like anything I tell you is not gonna, there's nothing I can really reveal. In fact, my weakest point is trying to write about myself, so this is maybe a big difference between us. I find it impossible to write about myself.
And that's the only thing I can do.
Well, it bugs me that I can't do it, honestly. Like I just go kind of dead because my immediate thought is this is boring because it seems familiar to me. Mm-hmm. And then if I'm bored, I mean, it's kind of back to that question of, if I'm not even interested, how can I expect the reader to be interested?
Whereas I feel like, this is fake. I'm lying. It's fake. I'm making it up.
Well, it's fine. I take a lot of chances, and I don't know if I'm right. Like, for example, I'm basically describing a kleptomaniac there, but I never did a stitch of research into what that is because I figured it's compulsion. Like, we all know what that is.
Sure.
But, I have no personal experience of it. So I do take those liberties comfortably, and I guess I hope that if I'm comfortable, then it must be working, although I'm sure that that's not always true.
One of my really good friends is a fiction writer, and he's always it's just this gift. Like, that it's a gift to be able to make stuff up.
I think it's also just, we all have to find the entry point that makes us write work that feels alive. And whatever that is, like, grab it. I mean, I would try again and again to write about myself thinking it really bothered me that I was so bad at it and think, come on, like, get better. And then I finally thought, you know what? So I won't write about people like me. There's no point in trying to make something happen that just doesn't seem to want to happen. So I'm having another macaroon.
Right on. I think we got our visit from the Macaroon
Great.
Squad. Thanks a million. It was amazing.
My pleasure. And I learned how to bake something new.
Found
So
it.
thanks.
Yeah. All right. Sayonara.
I am giving you